What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily. So this is the new Nokia 310 5G. Well, actually, this is the beaten, battered, and taped up box my Nokia 310 5G came in. But inside this pathetic hunk of recycled cardboard is presumably Nokia's newest budget 5G device. It's sold through T-Mobile and their prepaid subsidiary Metro here in the US, and for under $200, it might be a pretty good deal. What's most unique about the Nokia 310 though is its supposed repairability. Nokia actually partnered with iFixit to sell parts, tools, and take-apart guides for this phone. So if something breaks or goes bad, like the screen, battery, rear cover, or charge port, it can be easily swapped out by you, the user. And that's pretty cool. It's certainly a more practical approach to sustainability that a lot of the smartphone companies have been pushing lately. This fugly, bland cardboard box, I would imagine, is also an attempt at saving the trees, though it certainly cheapens the whole experience here. Sliding off the lid, thankfully the phone is inside, and we'll take a look at that in just a second. Tossing aside the cardboard insert at the bottom of the box, we see, well, nothing actually. I'm missing the instruction booklets and warranty info for some reason. There is, however, a USB-C charging cable hiding in its little compartment there, and this is the only other thing that's included with the phone. The only other thing to be found amongst what really is a tree's worth of ugly cardboard. So here is the phone itself, Nokia's new 310 5G. The only color option you have to choose from is this shiny shade of blue, which should be pretty familiar if you're a former Nokia smartphone user. And actually, from front to back, this is very much in line with what we've seen with previous budget-friendly Nokia smartphones. The 310 is a 6.56-inch device. That's the exact screen size, corner to corner, and obviously not really the best screen-to-body ratio here, with a full U-shaped selfie camera notch up top and very pronounced bottom bezel. Because there's so much extra black border surrounding the phone, especially at the bottom, it feels taller and bigger than it actually is. Keep in mind, it's not even a 6.6-inch screen, but it has the same footprint as like a 6.8-inch device. So in the hand, it's definitely a little tougher to manage than you might expect based on its advertised measurements. Around back, like I already mentioned, this phone is finished in the metallic blue. It looks like it might be metal, but this is an all-plastic phone, including the frame, which shouldn't be unexpected in this price range, but it's a lighter, cheaper feeling phone for sure. The design isn't bad though. It's slim, the sides are flat, the camera module at the top there doesn't bulge out, and the chrome finish is sort of a premium touch. It no doubt looks about the same as any other Nokia smartphone from the last 2 or 3 years. Taking a look around, on the left side you'll see the SIM and micro SD card tray for expandable storage, which is great to have, though this phone actually ships with a very respectable 128 gigabytes of onboard storage, so you may not need to reach for an SD card right away, but it's always nice to have the option. On the right side, your usual volume buttons positioned just above the power button, which doubles as your fingerprint sensor for unlocking. This was perfectly fine to set up, and I've had no issues with waking or getting into the phone at all. At the bottom, Nokia kept the headphone jack here, which is also great, alongside the USB-C port for charging and single bottom firing speaker. The earpiece obviously is up front there above the selfie camera, and around back, a triple lens camera setup spearheaded by a 50 megapixel AI lens that I'll talk more about in just a bit. So I want to briefly touch on the repairability of this phone again. I'm not going to rip it apart in this video. I may do a separate repair guide that goes over everything, but as far as what you can replace, Nokia and iFixit offer the display, battery, plastic rear cover, and the charge port, ranging in price from $25 up to $55. And you get all the tools required to successfully complete each repair yourself. Now, I actually think this is a great deal. Assuming you paid the full retail price of $186 or $199 for the phone itself, you could repair everything and still not spend as much as you would on a brand new phone. And even if you got this phone for free, spending not even $60 and maybe an hour of your time to swap out a cracked display is probably less of a hassle than switching devices. I certainly applaud Nokia for making repairability a feature with their 310, and customer repairability at that. If you buy this phone, you have decent control over fixing it in an easy and affordable manner, and that's not something we've seen with 99.9% of tech, or even everyday household items. This is genuine sustainability, way more than eliminating the charging brick or shipping stuff in a flimsy recycled cardboard box. I just hope Nokia and maybe some other companies continue with this trend. As far as the rest of the specs and features, the 6.5-inch display display on the Nokia 310 is unfortunately just a 1612 by 720 resolution IPS LCD panel. You get a measly 269 pixels per inch, so even from a normal viewing distance, the screen and everything shown on it doesn't look all that sharp. It's still a pretty big display after all, and having a 720 resolution at this size doesn't make a whole lot of sense. On top of that, the LCD panel covered by just Gorilla Glass 3 isn't very bright, there's a decent amount of glare, and it also isn't that colorful either. This is very much a budget baseline display, the kind of setup you'd see on something from 4 or 5 years ago, and it's probably a worse spec than it should be, even for $200. The only positive is that it's at least a 90Hz panel, which you'll have to enable yourself in settings, and I highly recommend you do so, because that will make the phone look and feel a little faster, more fluid, and more responsive. It's just a shame that visually it doesn't look all that great, but depending on your own personal experience with smartphones, it may or may not even be a deal breaker for you, just something to consider. For your out loud listening pleasure, the single bottom speaker on this phone is pretty good. And if you want to go extra loud, Nokia prompts you with this audio boost option. If you press the volume up button when you're already at 100%, you'll crank the sound up even more, which is pretty cool, and it actually is a very noticeable difference. Powering the Nokia 310 is Qualcomm's Snapdragon 480 5G chipset, paired with just 4 GB of RAM and, like I mentioned earlier, 128 GB of onboard storage. Here are the Geekbench numbers, so you have something to compare. Now, honestly, I don't really hate having the Snapdragon 480 in this phone. Yeah, it's a pretty old processor at this point, more than 2 years old, but performance-wise, I've always found it to be quite good across all the other phones that have had it. The bit that bothers me more is the 4 gigs of RAM. Essentially, after about a dozen apps being loaded, the phone just can't keep anything else current. So if you jump back into anything, you'll be launching and loading that app again from scratch. Obviously though, this is a $200 device, so I'm not expecting it to be crazy fast, but I feel like nowadays, components are cheap, apps have relatively significant requirements to run smoothly, and a modern mid-level processor with 6 gigs of RAM should probably be the bare minimum for any Android device, even for $200. On the bright side, Nokia's software experience is as minimal as can be, and that, I think, is an advantage in and of itself. The phone shipped with Android 13, and besides maybe 2 or 3 random apps you won't need, the phone isn't preloaded with any junk. No skins, no themes, no Candy Crush or Subway Surfers. It's a clean, simple, and easy-to-use Android phone that I know is a lot of people's preferences at this price point. And I think if there were any more extra stuff cluttering the interface, that may more negatively affect performance. Also crammed inside this phone is a pretty beefy battery, 5,000 milliamps. Combined with a dimmer, lower quality screen and less powerful specs, this is a phone you should expect to get a full day's use out of, and then some. Perhaps nearly 2 days if you use your phone sparingly. I've always found these budget Nokia devices to be long-lasting, but the bummer here is that while this phone supports a slightly faster 20-watt wired USB-C charging standard, Nokia doesn't give you that charger in the box. So when you go out and get a separate charger for this phone, make sure you opt for the 20-watt power delivery or quick charge variation so you can juice back up to 100% as fast as possible. It should take you an hour or less to charge. Finally, Nokia has perpetually pushed various forms of their AI cameras on their smartphones the last couple of years, and the Nokia 310 has a triple lens AI cam consisting of a 50 megapixel main shooter, 2 megapixel macro lens for up close images, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor for help with portrait pics. The selfie camera is just an 8 megapixel lens, and inside the camera app you'll find a basic set of shooting modes and features with a couple Nokia specific add-ons. Nokia presents you with this What's New in Camera 2.0 screen that outlines a better night mode, tripod mode for long exposure and still astrophotography shooting, AI portrait pics, and more. And I actually think compared to similar sub $200 devices, there are a lot of little extras to play around with. Actually snapping a pic though is oddly slow. It takes a few seconds each time to process the first image and then allow you to take another picture. Snapping a few sample shots here though, I've always found Nokia's pictures to be pretty good. Lots of detail, very realistic color, even if it feels a little dull, and the pictures are probably the one area where this phone genuinely exceeds its price point. This is by no means a flagship camera setup. You're still missing stuff like a wide-angle lens and better zoom and 4K video, but at least you know your basic everyday images will look pretty good. So on the one hand, Nokia's new 310 5G seems like a standard issue sub $200 budget device with some compromises, some nice add-ons, and a marginal sense of value, especially since, let's be honest, most people won't actually pay full retail price for this thing anyway. However, Nokia's new emphasis on repairability is a refreshing departure from the cash grab stigma these cheap phones usually have. And Nokia actually allows customers to repair this device and potentially keep it for longer. It's also a genuine attempt at sustainability, unlike the greenwashing most other companies do with their recycled boxes and lack of any e-waste accessories in the box. But what do you guys think of the new Nokia 310 5G? Is this a phone you're considering right now? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.